for this video, we will be presenting our case study entitled Another Staff Meeting. First, I would like to present the introduction and background of the study. Communication plays an important role in every organization because it helps employees and managers share information, coordinate tasks, and make effective decisions. Effective communication can improve teamwork and organizational productivity, while poor communication can lead to misunderstandings, frustration, and low employee morale. So, this case study highlights several communication and leadership issues that occur during a staff meeting led by Jim McLean. Therefore, this analysis aims to examine the communication problems, leadership practices, and decision-making process that affect the effectiveness of the meeting. Moving on the background of the case study. Okay, next is the background of case study. This case study focused on a department supervised by Jim McLean. Jim managed 7 department managers, including June Hanks. For almost a year, June and her colleagues have been frustrated with Jim's management style, especially his habit of organizing meetings at the last minute without informing staff about the purpose of the meeting. The main conflict occurred when Jim suddenly called a meeting and asked every manager to submit 3 routine suggestions to reduce what he called red tape by the next morning. However, the employees were already facing heavy workloads, including the Howard project and the VIP service program. June believed that the VIP service program was a more urgent issue because it frequently interrupted employees' work and increased errors. When she raised this concern, Jim dismissed her opinion and continued focusing on the red tape issue. As a result, employees became reluctant to participate in the discussion, and the meeting ended without any meaningful outcome. So, this case study demonstrated how poor communication, ineffective leadership, and weak decision making can negatively affect employee participation and organizational effectiveness.
Assalamualaikum and good morning everyone. For this section, I will explain the communication issues that occur in the meeting. Based on the case study, there are 3 main communication problems which are lack of clear communication and poor meeting planning, poor listening and lack of employee participation, and ineffective information sharing and conflict management. The first issue is lack of clear communication and poor meeting planning. Dalam kes ni, Jimmy mengadakan meeting secara tiba-tiba tanpa memberikan maklumat yang jelas kepada pekerja. Because of that, employees felt confused and could not prepare properly. For example, when June asked Rudy about the purpose of the meeting, Rudy replied, "Who knows?" This shows that employees did not understand the objective of the meeting. As a result, the meeting became less effective and employees felt frustrated. Therefore, managers should inform employees early and provide a clear agenda before the meeting. The second issue is poor listening and lack of employee participation. Dalam meeting ni, June raised an important concern regarding the VIP service program. However, Jim did not listen carefully to her opinion and quickly dismissed her suggestion. This made employees feel uncomfortable and less confident to share their ideas. As a result, employees' participation decreased and teamwork was affected. To overcome this issue, managers should practice active listening and encourage employees to speak openly. The third issue is ineffective information sharing and conflict management. Ramai pekerja sebenarnya bersetuju dengan kebimbangan yang dibangkitkan oleh June mengenai VIP service program. However, Jim ignored the issues and continued discussion is on agenda. This shows that important workplace problems were not discussed effectively. As a result, employees become dissatisfied and the meeting ended without solving the actual problems. Therefore, managers should encourage open discussion and manage conflict professionally.
Hi, my name is Nur Azrin Amalina. Today, I will be discussing the role of Jim's leadership style and organizational politics in the case study. Firstly, Jim demonstrates an autocratic leadership style. This means that he makes decisions independently and expects employees to follow his instructions without much involvement in the decision-making process. Throughout the meeting, Jim focused only on his own agenda, which was reducing red tape, and did not give employees the opportunity to discuss issues they consider more important. He also assigned employees the task of submitting 3 written solutions by the next morning without considering their existing workload and responsibilities. Furthermore, Jim failed to listen to employee concerns. When Jim raised an issue about the VIP service program and explained how it was affecting productivity and increasing work pressure, Jim immediately dismissed her opinion instead of listening and discussing the issue. This showed a lack of respect for employee feedback and participation. As a result, employees feel unappreciated and less motivated. They believe that their opinions would not be considered, which reduces their trust in leadership and discourage them from contributing ideas during meetings. Next, organizational politics can clearly be seen in the meeting. Jim used his position and authority to control the discussion and reject opinions that differ from his own. After witnessing how Jim responded to June, other employees become reluctant to speak up because they fear criticism or rejection. Consequently, communication became one-way. Important concerns were left unresolved, and employees remained silent despite sharing the same frustrations. This created a negative workplace climate that weakened teamwork, reduced employee engagement, and affected the overall effectiveness of decision making within the department. That's all from me. Thank you.
The decision-making process in this meeting was ineffective because Jim used an autocratic leadership style. Most decisions were made based on his own opinions without involving employees in the discussion. For example, Jim focused mainly on reducing red tape and instructed employees to submit 3 written proposals by the next morning. However, he did not consider their workload or ask whether the deadline was realistic or not. Another issue was poor communication. When Jim raised concerns about the VIP service program, causing interruptions and error, James immediately rejected her suggestions instead of listening and discussing the problem. This showed a lack of active listening and employee participation. As a result, employees felt ignored, less motivated, and less willing to contribute their ideas. Overall, the meeting lacked collaborations, open communication, and effective decision-making. To improve decision-making effectiveness, several actions can be taken. First, Jim should plan meetings in advance and share the agenda early. This allows employees enough time to prepare reports and ideas before the meeting. Second, Jim should adopt a participative decision-making style. Employees who are directly involved in daily operations often have valuable insights and practical solutions. By encouraging their participations, better decisions can be made. Third, Jim should improve his communication skills through active listening. Instead of dismissing employee suggestions, he should listen carefully and consider their feedback. This helps build trust, morale, and stronger teamwork. Finally, Jim should set realistic deadlines and consider employees' workloads before assigning additional tasks. This can reduce stress, improve productivity, and create a more positive work environment. In conclusion, effective decision-making requires collaborations, open communications, active listening, and employee involvement.
To wrap things up, let's look at the final conclusion from this case study. If we examine what went wrong, the breakdown of this meeting fundamentally comes down to Jim's autocratic leadership style. Instead of facilitating a discussion, Jim focused strictly on his own agenda and actively shut down input. This created a major miscommunication because of poor planning and lack of clarity. Employee didn't feel safe or motivated to speak up. As a result, meeting yielded zero meaningful outcome. Critical issues such as VIP service program were completely left out, and the staff walked away feeling completely frustrated. So how do we fix this and moving forward? First, leader must switch to collaborative participative style. Second, organization must focus on opening the doors, creating a psychological safe environment where employees know their opinions are valued. And finally, it comes down to better preparation. Planning meetings with clear structures ensure that time is used effectively, employees' engagement stays high, and the organization actually drives real results.